Florida State won how many games last year? 2. They won 2 games last year. Now, this is a premier program, right? And this is what should be a premier coach. So it was going to be highly unlikely that they came back and won only 2 games again this year, right? But they won 2 games last year, Austin. 2 games.
Correct.
And Alabama was being talked about by pundits, by these fools on television about how fantastic they were going to be. People picking them for early national champions, and all this, all this craziness, and then Kalen DeBozo and the Elephants go and lose to Florida State. And brother, again, you've been calling this from day one.
Yeah, I mean, and I have, and some of it was off camera, some of it's on camera, and we'll just kind of get into it. We have a lot of new listeners, so I'm going to get into some older talking points that you've heard, Blake. Some of our newer listeners may have not have heard. Overall, with the FSU game yesterday, of course, I was watching the game, I was tuning in, and I'm not going to deny it, Blake. I was hate watching. I was really excited. Every time Florida State made a great play, I was really happy. I mean, that's just how this works when I'm watching Alabama play someone. I'm really happy when the other team does well. Let me just say, with this Alabama team, Blake, it could not have looked any more different than any Nick Saban team I have ever seen, okay? They got completely dominated in the trenches in the second half and completely undisciplined. Absolutely completely undisciplined. It was the complete opposite of any Nick Saban team I've ever watched play. And Blake, do you want to know why? Nick Saban's not there anymore. And a lot of people seem to have not realized there's a reason they won 6 national. There's a reason they were good for 20 years, right? And it's not because the A on their chest. It's because the coach. That's what people didn't realize. And Blake, I've got an article pulled up here. Okay, I've got an article because I had a buddy yesterday. I talked about this article. Blake, you've heard me talk about this article. I had a buddy yesterday question me. He was like, "Is that real? Did ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, really rank Kalen DeBoer as the number 2 head coach going in to 2024? Was that real, Austin, or did you just make that up?" I've got the article right here, Blake, and I'm going to show our listeners if I can make this work. So here's the article, okay? It's Blake. It's blocking me and Blake's face. Here we go. 2024. Kirby Smart won. By the way, Blake, he's won 2 national championships. Kalen DeBoer at number 2, okay? Dabo Swinney, 3 national championships. He's nowhere to be found. Or 2 national championships. My apologies. He was number 2 heading in to his first season as the Alabama head coach, okay? And Blake, right when I see that, right? Immediately my mind goes to the fact that it's like, this has to be the most disingenuous ranking of all time, right? It's the most disingenuous ranking of all time. Right when Kalen DeBoer got hired, your first thought has to go to, well, he's not going to be as good as Nick Saban. Nick Saban's the greatest coach ever, right? So it's quite literally impossible for him to be as good as Nick Saban, right? That's just obvious. But then you have the fact that it's like, can he follow the pressure of Nick Saban, right? Can he follow the pressure that Nick Saban leaves behind? So that's another question mark, right? But then you go back to this ranking and why this ranking really happened, right? And why this came about and why Kalen DeBoer got the job at Alabama. He took a Washington team to a national championship. That's good. You did it. You took them to a national championship. That was a great season. Like immediately, literally the off season. Okay. And again, this isn't on camera. I have a lot on camera. This isn't on camera. The off season this happened, Blake. I'm trying to point to people and maybe a cousin of ours who's an Alabama fan. Unfortunately, please pray for him. Okay. I'm trying to tell him I'm in NFL. I watch the NFL too. I watched the NFL draft. I follow it religiously. Kalen DeBoer's Washington team had 3 first-round draft picks and 2 in the top 10. By the way, you're sitting there thinking, well, he probably developed the guys. No, he didn't. Those weren't his players that he recruited. They weren't his players that he developed. Michael Penix was a transfer. He was a top 10 player at the quarterback position, Blake, in the NFL draft. So this is the kind of context I'm trying to point to people. I'm trying to lead people like, can you see how maybe the players elevated him and he didn't elevate the player? Like, are you kind of seeing the pattern here? And then I'm looking at Blake, wait a second. Even Alabama didn't believe in the guy. He was their fourth
Nope.
choice. He was their fourth choice. He was the fourth guy they called, Blake. Everyone else said no. So even the own school didn't believe in the guy that they hired because he's their
Right.
fourth choice, people. And like, I'm trying to put these puzzle pieces together for people, Blake. And it's not like a hindsight thing either, Blake. And it's also not like a thing where I'm just making up the hype. A lot of people, what they do on social media, Blake, they get angry at a scenario that never even happened. No one even ever said it, and it never even existed. Blake, I just showed you the article. The
Right.
worldwide leader, Blake, 10 of their top college football, and these guys aren't biased, by the way. These are like AP voters, man. They're like they're supposed to be the unbiased sources in college football, right? They're supposed to be the guys, the experts. They ranked him number 2 overall. And as you know, Blake, and as I've talked to you off camera, the real reason that they ranked him number 2 was because they assumed they wanted to be the smart marks in the room. They assumed the Alabama head coach was going to have success because they believed in the
Yep.
A on the chest so damn bad that they said they're going to put their reputation on the line and now get called out by a guy who, hey, I got a podcast now, okay? So I can call your asses out. Listen, you believed in the A on the chest so bad that you thought Kalen DeBozo was going to have success at Alabama just because it's Alabama. That's not how it works. There's a reason Saban got out of the profession. NIL completely changed the game. None of
Yep.
these kids give a rat's ass about the A on the chest, dude. They just don't. And it's over, dude. It's over. I said it last year when they got annihilated in Norman. I said it when we beat them in Neyland. It's over, dude. Kalen and our chat's already pointing out. The fans are already calling for his head. And that's
Yeah.
I said this would happen when he got hired. I said 2 years in, Blake, they would call for his head. 2 years into his tenure at Alabama, Alabama fans will already be calling for the firing of Kalen DeBozo. And that is exactly how this is played out. It's exactly how it's played out. And I try to tell my cousin, and I listen with a small platform, I try to tell the idiot reporters who want to look like the smart guys in the room that, dude, when the greatest coach of all time leaves, no one in the world can replace him. And when the own school who hired the coach had their fourth choice say yes, don't believe in that guy. That's fool's gold, man. It's fool's gold. And I gotta call out a guy who we like, Blake, Josh Pate, had them winning a national championship this year, man. Come on, man.
Yep.
Come on, dude. Like, their quarterback got benched for Jalen Milroe against South Florida, man. Like, you know this, Pate. You follow the game. You follow Alabama. Like, you follow college football. He got benched for Jalen Milroe. And y'all thought this guy was all of a sudden going to elevate under Kalen DeBoer? Nick Saban benched him. But you thought he was going to be a better player under Kalen DeBoer. Come on, man. It's disingenuous, dude. You just believed in the A. The A doesn't mean crap. It just doesn't. It doesn't mean anything, dude. It's over. It's dead. It's done, man. It's finally done.
The A is dead. The power T is on the rise, baby. Okay. And man, it freaking puffs me up, dude. I love hearing you because you are absolutely 100% correct. You have been calling this since day one. And I remember on the podcast when we talked about that article with those, again, unbiased ESPN worldwide leader in sports reporters ranking him number 2. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely asinine. And Austin, I've seen a stat floating around that perfectly encapsulates this kind of transition from Saban to DeBoer, which is Saban, if I'm not mistaken, the stat is that Saban lost 4 total games in his career at Alabama to unranked teams. DeBoer has already lost in his by the first game of his second year has lost 4 games to unranked teams. Look, what I love about this, Austin, is that, Alabama fans had they're on their high horse, right, about their rivalry with us. Talking about, Auburn is, their number one rival. Tennessee's not in the conversation anymore. Da da da. Dude, we had a decade of dysfunction because of terrible athletic director decisions and terrible administration decisions, even above the athletic director. And it was a absolute crap show. And we went through bad coaches because of bad decision makers and just a bad situation. And we suffered as a fan base because of that. And look, I as human beings, I love even Alabama fans. But as Alabama fans, you get what you freaking deserve, baby. And I love to see them now going through what we went through, which is, again, your athletic program had to fall back to its 4th choice. And so obviously it was like, obviously he's not the best of the best because it was the 4th choice to begin with, your 4th choice. And even that, Austin, I don't even know if he should have been their 4th choice because, as you're pointing out, it looked like fool's gold. His resume. And so the bottom line is look, I freaking love it. I hope Alabama fans suffer. I hope Alabama suffers for the next decade, 2 decades. We're going to catch back up to them in the series. We're going to overtake them in the series again. They're going to start crying about, the 3rd Saturday in October, Austin. It means something again.
Yes.
Wake up call, reality call. The 3rd Saturday in October is one of the historic rivalries in college football. Okay. It is one of the oldest rivalries in college football. It is one of the oldest, if not the oldest rivalry in the SEC. It is a historic rivalry. It is an important rivalry, and it is back. And dude, I would love nothing more than to go on a streak against these fools because of freaking Kalen DeBozo and what they got going on right now.
They're very beatable, man. Nobody stood out on this team. It was very uninspiring performance. And shout out to Florida State. I hope Florida State fans are happy, and y'all do deserve it. Y'all went through a tough season last year. You showed up in this game. That environment was incredible in Tallahassee. You showed up despite your team going 2-10 last year. Shout out to Mike Norvell, the Florida State head coach, an actual good head coach. By the way, Blake, one of the guys who said no to Bama. That's pretty funny if you just look at it from like an objective perspective. Like, he said no, then he went 2-10, and now you're like, oh, egg in your face, but then he beats you in the next. It's like one of those things. It's called irony, Alabama fan. You might not realize that, but that's what it's called. It's really funny for someone like me, who, again, tried to warn you. I was really so confused, and we covered this on Vol Talk last year live on the show. I was so confused when we were debating a 9-3 Alabama team who got their asses whipped in Norman, Oklahoma, by 21. And that Oklahoma team went 6-6, and we're debating that 9-3 Alabama team for the playoffs. That's how delusional people are with the A. Because, dude, when Nick Saban was coaching Alabama, dude, didn't you always feel like they had a chance? Like, no matter what the score is, no matter what the time on the clock is, you always felt like those Nick Saban coach teams have a chance. It's done. We have to, Vegas, everyone has to recalibrate, okay? Recalibrate your Alabama lines, recalibrate your expectations, recalibrate what you think of the A on the chest. They weren't one of the best 9-3 teams last year, okay? People kept giving them credit for the Georgia win last year. They almost blew a 30-point lead. Like, there's signs, people. Wake up and see the signs. Good coaches don't blow 30-point leads. Good coaches don't lose by 21 to 6-6 teams. By the way, they lost to Vanderbilt last year, Blake. Vanderbilt. Even at Tennessee, in our years of dysfunction, Blake, when a coach lost to Vanderbilt, it was time to fire the coach every single time. When a coach lost to Vanderbilt, that was the final straw. They're gone. They're done. And that's
it's one thing if you start losing to Kentucky. Oh God, it's my camera is doing its thing again. But it's one thing if you lose to Kentucky. It's one thing if you lose to South Carolina, but the final straw
Was
is
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt, man. And if you lose to Vanderbilt, man, we're done.
They lost to Vanderbilt. I just like, and we're debating them for the college football play. Do you know how insane that drove me last year, Blake? We're debating them to play for a national championship when they lost to Vandy. Okay, Vanderbilt. That's insane. There's signs on the wall. I hope everyone wakes up and realize, okay, this is the final straw. Kalen DeBoer can't coach. He just can't do it, man. He's not built for this league. And Alabama's not the same. They're just not the same. So quit picking them as your preseason national champions. Quit picking them top 10 in the AP. They shouldn't be ranked. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be a hater. They are not the same. This is not the same caliber of team, and they will never be. They won't be in our lifetimes, Blake. Okay, they're not. Nick Saban's not coming back. He's not coming
No.
back.
And let us be clear, we are haters. We are haters,
yes.
but this is separate.
Oh,
this,
yes.
this is
Correct.
this is objectively
Correct.
true information, right?
Yeah. Oh, if I didn't
People
make
just
that clear,
can't
I
come-
am a huge hater. Yes.
Correct. Like we are haters, but
Yes.
this in particular is not hating. This is just facts.
It
Nick
is.
Saban was the greatest coach of all. He was the greatest coach of all time, and literally, someone in order to replicate the chances of having the next greatest coach of all time after having the greatest coach of all time, someone would have to get struck by lightning 5 times in a row, right? To replicate those chances, it is quite literally impossible, right? To catch lightning in a bottle twice in a row. It's not Saban anymore. It's not Saban.
No.
It's a new era.
And Blake, to add to that point, like if Saban didn't leave for the NFL, then LSU would have been the team with the 6th championship. Like people just don't really like.
Right.
The A is meaningless. It's totally meaningless. The young kids, like, and I know all the Bama fans and their single wides, they think that it means something. They swear up and down. They think it means something to these kids. It means absolutely nothing to them. It means nothing to them, Blake. Literally nothing. And the recruiting's still going well. People, that ball is going to drop soon, brother. They're going to start sliding down. It's going to be like, oh, top 5 to top 10, and then it's going to be like top 10 to top. They're scraping in the top 20, and then all of a sudden it's like they're going to be fighting against South Carolina for recruits. That's the trajectory we're going on with Alabama, because no one wants to live in Tuscaloosa, dude. No one lives there by choice. They're born into it, and yeah, that's just the reality. That is the state of this program and where they're headed, and it's just obvious. The writing was on the wall, man. It was as easy to read as a Dr. Seuss book, dude. It's right there in front of you, dude. Just read it, okay? It's Kalen DeBoer. It's their 4th choice. They lost the greatest coach ever, but the worldwide leader ranked them number 2. You got to deal with that.
Welcome
ESPN.
back. Welcome back to reality, ESPN. Welcome back to reality, Alabama fans.